Hi, welcome back for day 2 of our Making Meaning lesson this week. Do you remember this book from yesterday? Do you remember anything special about that book? If you want, you can pause the video and share some of those things you remember with someone that's near you. Now, because this is a nonfiction book, it has some special parts to it. So that's what I want to look at today is those special parts of this book. Now, at the very beginning, yesterday, I shared with you the table of contents. So, if we wanted to find out who is working on planes, we would go to page 12. So, on page 12, it tells me that pilots fly planes all over the world. It also tells me that flight attendants help passengers on planes. That way, I didn't have to look through the whole book. I could turn right to the page that I needed. Now, one of the other things I noticed yesterday as I was reading you this book, that this book had some labels in it. Planes carry cargo. Cargo is large bundles of things that are being moved from place to place. Now, it says planes carry cargo, but I might not know what cargo is. So they put a label that says cargo and pointed it right down here at this big bundle of things that are being shipped on the plane. There were other labels in the book. I go all the way to the back. Now, I didn't share this page with you yesterday. I was saving it for today. They drew a picture of a plane and then they labeled it. So this tells me that this part back here is the tail of the plane. This part here is the wing. This part is the engine. And the part way up front where the pilot sits, that's called the cockpit. So I just learned a whole lot of vocabulary about a plane just by looking at that picture and using those labels. Now, this book also comes with a picture glossary. And what that does is it helps the reader understand a little bit more about what they're reading. Now, as the teacher, I had my teacher book right here that it could explain to me what those words meant, like cargo, flight attendant, passenger, and pilot. But if you were looking at this by yourself at home, back here in the picture glossary, it shows you that cargo again, and it tells you that cargo is a large group of items. A flight attendant, a person who helps people during a flight. A passenger, a person who flies on a plane. Would you like to be a passenger someday on a plane? I know I would. And a pilot is a person who flies a plane. Maybe someday you'll become the pilot of a plane. And the last thing that this nonfiction book has for its readers to help understand better is what's called the index. So I want to know where in this book I can find a picture of the wing. So I find wing. And if I go to page 9, there it is. Planes have wings to help them fly. And there's the label pointing to the picture of the wing on the plane. Wow, that's a lot of helpful stuff that they included in that book, isn't it? So the next time you're looking at a nonfiction book, see if your book has a table of contents. Does it have labels? Does it have a glossary to help you understand new vocabulary words? And does it have an index so that you can go back and look up certain parts of the book? Now, the last thing I want to do today is something that maybe you're going to want to try at home that has to do with labeling. Now, you can draw any picture that you want. In the book, it was a plane. Maybe you'll draw a plane, maybe a bicycle, a bus, a car, a person. Now, I had to think of something that I could draw that would kind of look like what I wanted it to. So I decided to draw a flower. And I want you to help me label the parts of a flower. So this is my flower. And I added a title to my chart saying labeling parts of a flower. Now, we've talked a little bit about flowers and we were growing radishes at school. So I know the part of the flower that's underground that sucks up the water and helps hold the plant down into the ground is called the right roots. So I'm going to write u t s. Now, if somebody was looking at this and wasn't familiar with plants, they might not know that these are the roots. So I have to put my line going like that. So it's pointing right at the roots. Now, what else holds that flower up? This part right here. Do you remember what that's called? The stem. S, t, e, m. And then I have to add my line so that my reader knows that that is the stem. All right, what do we have here? The leaf. Help me sound out leaf. L, E, and that's going to take an E and an A, leaf. And then I'm going to draw my line there. And way up at the top, do you know what each one of those little parts of the flower is called? Have you ever heard of the petal? Okay, so I could call this the flower, or up here at the top are the petals. There we go. You just helped me label the parts of a flower. Now remember, you can draw anything and then just label the parts and share that with somebody, because as good writers know, it's important to share what we write with other people. Until next time, friends, happy labeling.